By all accounts, the country's participation to the second Belt and Road Forum held in China or Beijing, China last week was a success with more than $12 billion in business deals and investments. Gerald de la Peña has more.
President Rodrigo Duterte brought home 19 business deals pegged at $12.16 billion or 629 billion pesos from the Belt and Road Forum in Beijing. The business agreements between Filipino and Chinese businessmen would generate more than 21,000 jobs in the fields of energy, tourism, infrastructure, and mining. At the exchange of signed agreements last week, President Duterte encouraged Chinese businessmen to come over to the Philippines to invest and assure them that he will make it easy for them to do business despite the tension between the two countries over the West Philippine Sea.
I will not allow corruption in my government. It has been at the start of my administration, and it will be until the day I step out of office. We are strengthening domestic policies and regulations to promote ease of doing business, easy, and enhance the competitiveness of new enterprises and industries.
During their bilateral meeting, President Duterte brought up the West Philippine Sea issue to Chinese President Xi Jinping, particularly the presence of Chinese vessels near Pag-asa Island. The two leaders agreed to settle their differences through bilateral negotiations. Malacanang denied claims that there was a deadlock between the two leaders.
Di naman, the fact na sinabi niya na we will resolve that into bilateral negotiations, so di ibig sabihin open sila. Hindi mo rin masabing nagmamatigas kasi sinabing open eh. So when you open yourself to negotiation relative to whatever irritants or challenges that are raised in relation to the ruling, then ibig sabihin malambot sila. Pareho.
Under this declaration, there will be times when the area will be put under closed season, wherein fishing and harvesting of marine resources will be prohibited.
I think this is the best bilateral that the President has had so far with the President Xi Jinping. The President was very firm in taking care of our national interests.
China has not responded yet on Duterte's declaration. The Philippines is also awaiting China's response on the diplomatic protest concerning Pag-asa Island. Meanwhile, the issue of the growing number of illegal Chinese workers in the Philippines was not tackled by the two leaders. But the Department of Labor and Employment said there must be legislation to give it authority to impose higher fines and penalties against illegal workers and their employers.
I would recommend to Congress that they give DOLE the authority to suspend or to cancel the license of any company hiring illegal workers.
The Department of Transportation, on the other hand, was able to ask Chinese groups involved in construction of train systems to employ Filipinos for basic construction.
You have to use Filipino workers. I give it to you that you can bring in the engineers and the technical people for the very simple reason and no-brainer. Nakuha nila yan eh. Specialized. Pero to marry that requirement, nag-agree sila. In fact, nag-agree na yung mag-uumpisang mag-construct sa South. Magte-training sila ng Filipino workers.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.